Tokyo, the capital of Japan, home to more than 12 million people. Tokyo's economic size has expanded nearly 100 times in the past 50 years. With economic growth, the increasing amount of waste, sanitary management and waste reduction have become top issues for government, businesses and the public. This graph compares gross product in Tokyo with the waste amount. Before, the amount of waste increased as the economy grew, but since the 2000s it remains low. This is the result of government, businesses and the public all promoting the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. Here you learn about Japan's experience in waste management with special focus on the Tokyo metropolis. With its defeat in the Pacific War in 1945, Tokyo was left completely burnt and devastated. After the war, Japan had to rebuild from scratch, and waste management was no exception. 15 years after the war's end, the film Refuse and Daily Life was made. This valuable film shows the situation of waste management in Tokyo about 50 years ago. In 1900, Japan enacted the Waste Cleansing Law, stipulating that municipalities shall handle the urban waste. But Tokyo couldn't handle the waste since so many facilities and equipment were lost in the war, and everyone was so busy with recovery efforts. At that time, waste was usually collected using two-wheeled carts. Residents threw away their household waste in waste bins located on every street corner. By hand, sanitation workers took the waste from the bins and transported them to transfer stations by two-wheeled cart. With more and more people flowing into Tokyo after recovering from the war's damage, this inefficient collection method couldn't keep up with the larger amounts of waste being generated. People in Tokyo were throwing waste away in rivers and other places on a daily basis. Waste disposal couldn't keep up with the increasing generation of waste, so rivers and vacant lots began filling up with waste. The discarded waste went rotten, giving off foul odors and creating a perfect haven for flies. When these flies laid eggs, the eggs hatched into larvae in just 12 hours. Larvae feed on kitchen waste, become pupas underground, and develop to adults in only 10 days. The lifespan of a fly is about 1 month. They lay eggs 3 or 4 times in their life, at about 50 to 100 eggs at a time, so the number of flies grows exponentially. Flies transmit many types of pathogens, such as dysentery bacillus and typhoid bacillus. The same goes for cockroaches and mice that love garbage and kitchen wastes. To exterminate pests and mice, antiseptics were sprayed throughout Tokyo. At the beginning of the 1950s, there were issues of human waste as well as household waste. Chemical fertilizers began being widely used instead of human waste, resulting in dumping of surplus human waste into rivers. In 1954, the new public cleansing law stipulated that municipalities are obliged to collect municipal solid wastes and human waste and dispose them in a sanitary manner. To collect wastes, automobiles began being used instead of two-wheeled carts for public health reasons and greater efficiency. garbage trucks were introduced in 1958 and helped prevent waste from scattering on streets by compressing the waste during loading using a mechanism inside the truck. Later, more sanitary and efficient mechanical garbage trucks were gradually introduced. With increasing awareness of environmental sanitation, in urban areas, incineration became the favored method of waste disposal. This is an advanced waste incineration facility 50 years ago from the film Refuse and Daily Life. A garbage truck drives to the 4th floor through a long passageway. When the truck arrives, the door to the waste bunker is remotely opened from the monitoring room. Incineration helps to prevent harmful effects caused by rotten wastes and to significantly reduce the volume of solid waste by burning them to ash. To reduce the amount of waste and dispose of them sanitarily, just like before the war, sorted collection of waste expanded again. In 1955, a waste reduction and recycling campaign was launched. Group collection became a common method throughout Japan, in which recyclable waste, such as paper, clothing, metal and bottles are collected mainly by neighborhood and residence associations and then bought by junk dealers. In the 1960s, streetscapes became an issue, with the waste collection method changing from disposal in street-side waste bins to scheduled collection using containers. In 1964, Japan experienced an Olympic boom and Tokyo changed dramatically. The Shinkansen, a high-speed railway hitting speeds of 200 km per hour, was constructed and improvement of expressways began. This high economic growth significantly improved the quality of life in Japan. Cities were developed and became cleaner, though a large amount of waste was generated. Landfill disposal of garbage that couldn't be burned caused a plague of flies at Yumenoshima, a seashore landfill site. There were flies in every house in Japan at that time. Huge number of flies, so many that fly capture tape immediately turned black, moved areas surrounding Yumenoshima, causing a major problem. Everyone was busy getting rid of the flies, while the government was busy spraying antiseptics. Finally, a decision was made to apply a scorched earth strategy at Yumenoshima by burning all the waste on the island. This experience led to the introduction of sanitary landfills. Along with high economic growth, Japan began experiencing serious environmental problems. Regarding wastes, problems occurred such as air pollution caused from incineration of mass wastes like plastics and from car emissions, and water pollution caused from landfills where direct disposal of hazardous industrial waste had occurred. The 1970 diet session was called the Pollution Diet. 14 laws were enacted, including the Air Pollution Control Law and the Water Pollution Control Law. The Public Cleansing Law was entirely amended into the Waste Management and Public Cleansing Law. This law clarifies the public's responsibility for municipal solid wastes and the business's responsibility for industrial wastes. In 1971, the governor of Tokyo declared Tokyo's waste war. Local residents in a ward with a final disposal site refused to accept solid waste from a ward where construction of a new incineration plant had been delayed. Finally, local authorities decided to refuse to accept the wastes. With this serious conflict known as a war, dealing with the new age of mass production and mass consumption, and the changing nature and the volume of waste, the government faced an urgent need to enlarge and modernize incineration facilities. New incinerators introduced scrubbers, which cut the discharge of soot from chimneys and hydrogen chloride from burning plastics. Also, an exhaust gas status panel was installed in front of plants to relieve residents' concerns about air pollution by letting them know the state of the atmosphere. Automation of both the monitoring and the burning equipment advanced as well. High-performance dust collection and deodorizing equipment made incineration facilities cleaner and safer. To obtain the understanding of local residents, facilities were installed such as heated pools and tropical botanical gardens using the exhaust heat from incineration. In 1973, Japan experienced an unforgettable event, the oil crisis. Soaring oil prices caused prices to rise in everything, not just energy. A lifestyle in Japan that completely relied on imported oil suffered a serious blow. This experience taught people that Japan was a country with few natural resources and forced everyone to think about recycling and reuse. In the 1990s, Japan became an economic power but faced a serious waste issue, illegal disposal of industrial wastes. Huge amounts of automotive residues and waste oil drums were illegally dumped on an island in the inland sea by unscrupulous business firms, resulting in leakage of hazardous substances such as dioxin. Afterwards, similar illegal dumping was found throughout the country. Also, emissions of dioxin from improper management at incineration plants was revealed and recognized as a grave social problem. The government amended the waste management and public cleansing law many times, including adding a mandatory restitution for firms that illegally dumped, and also enacted the law concerning special measures against dioxins to reduce dioxin emissions. In Tokyo, further control of waste, thorough waste management, and improvement of disposal systems were encouraged. This led the Tokyo Rule, which made businesses discharging wastes and persons placing orders for construction works responsible for confirming the proper management of final waste disposal. However, waste issues are diverse, and the reality is that legal amendments as individual responses often fell behind. As a result, strong demands for drastic policies occurred. Mass disposal of waste was now seen as a negative aspect of economic expansion. Japan had difficulties maintaining a smooth waste management system and decided to improve the laws and encourage recycling. Businesses started recycling resources. Waste tires are a type of waste that's hard to dispose of in any country, but introduction of a cutter for waste tires made it possible to use them as fuel. This is a cement plant. In Japan, about 30 million tons of wastes like waste tires each year are used as material for cement and fuel. Ground waste tires can also be used by mixing with asphalt. Metal plating factories with waste liquid disposal face the issue of how to generate smaller amounts of sludge containing heavy metals. In response, 8 factories jointly constructed a treatment facility where heavy metals like chromium could be collected from waste liquids using advanced processes, and wastewater could be reused. In home appliance recycling plants, reusable parts are first separated. They are then put into a grinder and separated into iron, aluminum, plastic, copper and other materials for reuse. Cars are carried on a long 65-meter conveyor belt. This is a car wrecking yard. The cars are put on the conveyor belt by crane. The non-iron parts are separated from the cars one after another. Cars with only iron left are then put in a pressing machine. The pressed iron is 97% pure and can be used as raw material in making steel. Though reducing the amount of waste is most important, the issue of waste management must be addressed together by government, the public and businesses. It's not an issue that can be solved immediately. Education is also important to help change our awareness. In Japan, school education includes learning about waste management. Students can learn about the current situation by visiting incineration facilities. Cleaning staff also provide environmental education, such as by sorting wastes. Various education programs exist to raise environmental awareness, such as One Town's trash pickup campaign with children participating. Steady efforts like this will help establish a more sound material cycle society in the future. Japan has strived to reduce the amount of waste in cooperation with government, the public and businesses. Using its experience, Japan is now cooperating with developing countries to improve waste management through technical support, such as trainings in Japan and sending professionals overseas, financial assistance for improving equipment and facilities, and other ways. Overall, Japan is promoting the 3 R's. Despite this effort, final waste disposal sites in Tokyo will soon be full, and the only landfill remained in Tokyo Bay will have to be used. Japan's experience of restarting from nearly nothing after the war ended in 1945 and establishing its current sound material cycle society can serve as a reference for many regions of the world. By sharing this experience, together we may be able to find a faster way to solve the waste issue and enjoy a better future. For future generations, Japan hopes its experience proves helpful.